My husband, 58, and I, 56 female, recently met my son's 24 girlfriend for the first time. He's been crazy about her. Apparently, they'd been dating for a year before he decided to have her meet us officially. What he's told us about her all seems great. She just got her degree, was enjoying her job, is family-oriented, etc. I'm honestly just glad he's happy with her. My husband and I don't think he's ever been this into someone, so I feel bad about what I did. Last weekend, he brought her over for dinner. By now, we'd been anticipating meeting her with how much our son had been gushing about her. In his words, how perfect she is, that she's the one. They ring the doorbell, we open the door. She looks exactly like her pictures, which is a great start. My son is grinning ear to ear, another great start. We invite them in. She accepts my hug and a firm handshake from my husband, and then she opens her mouth. "Hi, I'm the one your son bangs every night." To be frank, I was appalled. I expected my husband to laugh. He and my son are jokesters, and as annoying as it can be, I love it. But this was just too much for me. Maybe I'm reserved, but of all things she could have shared about my son, she told us that. One look at my face and my husband knew how much I disapproved. Maybe I let my expectations get too high and it's unfair to have them, but I reiterate, of all things to say to her boyfriend's parents, whom she'd never met, she chose that? My son was initially amused, but his face dropped when he noticed my reaction. I felt like he sold me the full package, everything he'd always wanted in a girlfriend. I was too disturbed by the visuals it put in my head, which translated into anger. I told her to get out and I wanted to say more about how gross it made me feel, but I fortunately left it at that. My son didn't want to go, insisting I give her another chance, but I was too fed up and uncomfortable. Even my husband, who's enjoyed his fair share of raunchy jokes, wouldn't let up. They left and I immediately felt guilty. This was something my son had really looked forward to, and I feel like I took that away over a dumb joke. I tried calling to apologize, but he hasn't responded. My husband thinks she's the one who should apologize. I'm considering giving her another chance, but before I do, was I the idiot? Not the idiot. I'm pretty liberal and open-minded, but geez, I'd never lead with that, meeting my boyfriend's parents for the first time, or say that ever. Like, seriously? You open the door and that's what flies out of her mouth? Was she nervous? Did she seem embarrassed at all? Did she try to apologize? Is there anything that could explain her inappropriate outburst? You apologized. Wow, hats off to you. Right, me and SO can be inappropriate as heck, but to come out with that first time you meet the parents? Jesus. If she doesn't call back to apologize or explain, if there's anything to explain, I hope your son dumps her, and also good riddance. It's more than what she said if you apologize. It's also her desire to meet you in the middle. You, the mother of the boyfriend she loves. Grace goes both ways. You extended yours by apologizing. If she was offended, she should do the same. And she's not a teenager, college graduate with a real job. What was she thinking? This just doesn't sit right. You said your son was all big smiles and amusement when they arrived, and up until your son realized you weren't all that impressed. You also said he jokes around like that with his dad, so what are the chances it was your son's idea all along and she just regretfully went along with it? Because if that's the case, you probably can't get a hold of him because he's doing damage control with his girlfriend, who's now mortified and angry that his super funny joke gave you the worst impression of her that she could imagine. Dude, seriously, this is the very first thing I thought here. Opie's son might be a DEFCON level 1 idiot and his girlfriend has probably torn him a new one 5 times over by now. Oh my god, I'm curious to see any apology or explanation from the son. I hope jokesters and pranksters learn that this stuff is unwelcome or not funny most of the time. Update. This honestly wouldn't surprise me, but I'm not going to lie, I'd be disappointed in him. That's not something he'd ever say directly because he knows I'm not a fan of any personal jokes of that nature. So to make his girlfriend say it wouldn't be very good, and I'd hope that if that is the case that he makes it up to her somehow. I don't think I gave her enough time to react properly and I regret that. She was frozen in shock and kept looking at my son to try to convince me not to kick her out. She wasn't sure what else she could say at that point. I'll try to reach out again and let them know we can try again. The possibility of her setting her up makes me feel 1,000 times worse. I, 40 female, have 4 kids with my husband, 45. My parents, 56 male and 56 female, had me young. I lived with my grandparents, dad's parents, while they were in college. Eventually, they settled down and had other kids much younger than me. The second youngest child, my youngest sister, is 22 and is getting married this summer. Despite our age gap, I've always been close to my siblings and excited about my sister's wedding, but a recent argument has caused some issues for us. Our teen son, Drayson, is a freshman in high school. He asked a girl out to the 7th grade dance 2 years ago, shortly after they started dating, and dated for a bit over a year. Unfortunately, she was in a car crash with a family friend last summer and didn't make it. Her parents and Drayson have stayed in touch, and he's got some of her stuff, and it's been tough on him. But Drayson has amazing friends who have helped him get through this. Drayson's girlfriend was Sri Lankan. While she and her parents were born in the US, her grandparents were not, and she had connections to her heritage. Both she and Drayson loved sports, so they would watch cricket together, and sometimes he'd go over to her house and eat traditional foods. She brought him for the 8th grade dance last year and asked him to wear the Sri Lanka flag cufflink she saw online. He agreed to do it, and it's something he cherishes as a gift from her. Note, our family is not Sri Lankan. Drayson has quite a few gifts from her, including clothes, but these cufflinks are the only thing that would be appropriate to wear at a wedding. As the wedding is approaching, we decided to start going suit shopping. Drayson found a suit he liked, we got it tailored and got the ready version last week. Drayson is a very confident person and felt good about the suit and even posted some photos to Instagram. On Sunday, we were at dinner at our parents' house. My sister and her fiancé were there, and he asked if they wanted to see his fit. They agreed to see what he was wearing to the wedding. I could see my sister's face change while looking at him, and she shortly asked to see me in private. She asked if he could not wear the cufflinks because they didn't match her wedding aesthetic. When I asked her to elaborate, all she said was that she was going for a traditional theme, and when I nudged her, she said she didn't think the cufflinks matched a traditional American wedding, and said she didn't want anything that could cause people discomfort. Shortly after that, we left, and I spoke about it with my husband, who agreed that her request was ridiculous. We texted her saying he would be wearing them, and if he couldn't, we would not attend. She texted our parents and siblings, and it's caused a mess. Some of our family is siding with us, but others are saying because it's her wedding, we should respect her rules. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I guess not matching a traditional American wedding aesthetic is the new way to say, I'm a racist idiot. How in God's name can a teen's cufflinks cause people discomfort? This is so insulting and unnecessary, and there is no such thing as doing whatever the bride and groom say just because it's their wedding when they're being idiots. I would die on this hill and just about any hill involving someone telling me what jewellery I'm allowed to wear. I'm not a native English speaker, and reading this I thought, cufflinks are those small things on suits you hardly see, right? Then I thought, but why would she make such a big deal out of it? So I googled it, and I was right. Cufflinks are those small things on suits. Why are people fighting over a teenager wearing such small, barely noticeable things? He knows they're there, and they give him emotional support, so he should wear them because he likes them. But any other person has to almost sniff his hands to notice the cuffs. So not the idiot, OP. It's a shame your sister is making a big deal out of it. I am a native speaker, and I still wondered, I am thinking about the same cufflinks here, right? That's ridiculous. Buy him matching socks. OP, your sister is undoubtedly a bridezilla. Who looks at cufflinks on a young man not in the wedding party? She clearly has too much time on her hands. My sister asked and I told her, but I suspected she didn't want to hear what I'd have to say even before I answered. My sister is expecting her first child. She's not sure if they are a boy or a girl yet, but she's started compiling names. I teach elementary kids and my girlfriend teaches high school, so we're around a lot of kids of different ages. My sister has a love for old-fashioned names, so top of her list are Judith, Margaret, Dorothy, Ethel, Harold, Donald, Albert, and Eugene. My sister and her husband were having some disagreements on names because he felt like the names my sister likes were too old-fashioned. She argued against that, but he said he doesn't think any child would use those full names in school or with friends. She said they're beautiful, and look at how many Elizabeths and Charles there are in the world who are young and only use the full name. So she decided to ask me what my experience was with kids, and I told her that in my classes, none of the kids with classic or old-fashioned names go by the full older name. They all go with a more modern nickname. She was already angry, but asked about my girlfriend's experience with older kids, teens, and I said from what she said, it's the same. She asked what happens if we use their full name, and I told her I always respect what my kids want to be called, and so does my girlfriend. My sister went a little crazy on me and said just because I don't like the names doesn't mean I should discourage others from using them. I reminded her that she asked me about my experience and that I didn't offer it out of nowhere. She told me my snarky little comment about modern nicknames was enough. She said I was calling my future niece or nephew's name ugly already. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Don't ask questions you don't want the answer to. If she wanted an echo chamber, she should have asked that before asking her ridiculous question. You and your girlfriend do right by the kids, calling them what they request. My son likes to be called Char. Yes, short for Charizard, at school because in the past there were multiple kids with his name in his class. I can't stand it, but everyone at school respects his requests and calls him Char. Your sis will have to learn that she's cooking a little human inside her, that little human will want things different from her, and she will need to accept that. No one wants to yell, Eugene. It'll get shortened to Jean, as it did back then. Dorothy was often Dot or Dotty, and Margaret was Maggie or Marge. Like your sister's nuts if she thinks her kids with longer 2- and 3-syllable names won't end up with shortened ones. I'm hoping she's just a little extra emotional due to the pregnancy. OP, you did nothing wrong. You just answered her questions honestly and fully. My parents divorced when I was 5. I don't actually remember them together. My dad met my stepmom when I was 6. My stepmom tried to fill a second mom role and my dad tried to facilitate that. At times, it meant them asking my mom to let me go someplace with them on her time or trying to get a Mother's Day celebration in. I know it hurt my mom, the thought of sharing the role as my mom. She never said anything. She never discouraged me at all, but there are always ways to tell if you know someone well enough and pay enough attention. I want to reiterate, my mom never interfered or said anything against my stepmom or dad. My noticing could be the reason I'm not closer to my stepmom, though I definitely don't despise her or see her as nothing, but a second mom is not something I'd ever consider her as. I do like her though. For my wedding planning and dress appointments, etc., I wanted to make it small for my mom and me. I wanted the experience with her anyway, but I also wanted to give her something she didn't have to share with my stepmom. This became more of a thing when my grandma and great-aunt on my dad's side called my stepmom Mother of the Bride on Facebook. The three commented that it would be a great experience for her to see me pick a dress and stuff. After seeing that, I went to my stepmom, and dad technically. I told her I didn't want to give her a role as mom of the bride and she wouldn't be doing the traditional mom of the bride stuff with me, dress shopping and fittings. I told her we could figure something else out. I asked if there was anything else she'd want to tag along for, like looking at flowers. She was sad and asked me why I didn't want her as the second mom of the bride. I told her I wanted that just for my mom. Dad then brings up that my mom won't mind and that she'd want me to have both my moms there. I told him he was wrong. She only agreed to share it because she felt it was the right thing to do, but it hurt her. He looked stunned and asked how I knew. I told him those close to her always knew. He then said he would never have expected that from her because she was always the perfect parent and person, and that was why they ended up divorcing because he couldn't handle it and was envious of her. I told him nobody's perfect, and it's unfair for him to expect my mom to be. I asked him if he'd be happy to be one of my dads. He said of course not, but he always thought mom would be better than him. The whole conversation left my dad and stepmom with rough feelings, and she made it clear she was upset that after all these years, I wouldn't give her the love and respect to be included as a mom of the bride. Also, I've spoken to my mom about the overall topic before. She's never admitted it, but always said she wanted the best for me and to be happy. Her best friend confirmed it for me though. Am I the idiot? You have a living mother. It's incredibly narcissistic for your father and stepmom to think that she will serve in the role of your mother for your wedding preparations when you have a living mom that you're close to. It's also unreasonable that these people hold your mother to a higher standard than they hold themselves. Not the idiot at all. Dad then brings up that my mom won't mind and she'd want me to have both my moms there. That was never his decision to make. Also, what is wrong with your dad? Your mom was perfect, so he divorced her and married your stepmother, who is bog standard normal. If I was the stepmother, I'd be peeved to say the least. Your dad is the main idiot. Your mom was painfully gracious about it your whole life, and it's only fair that she gets to have this with you. Side note, I understand why stepmom is hurt and would like the affirmation of being a second mom after all these years, but she should let it go. I have a twin sister, 18, who got pregnant a few months ago with her boyfriend. She's always been more of the social party type of girl, whereas I focus on my academics. Recently, whenever I have an academic achievement to announce to my family, she throws a fit and makes everyone focus on consoling her. I recently got accepted into an Ivy League university and plan to tell my family during dinner. My parents were excited as soon as I broke the news, but my sister started tearing up. She started crying about how she didn't even get accepted into any colleges and had to take care of her child and how tough her situation was. My parents immediately jumped to console her. I was seriously sick of her BS. I told her that she's not a victim and would really appreciate it if she could stop being such a miserable witch whenever I'm trying to share the good news. I also said the world doesn't revolve around her just because she's a pregnant teen. She started screaming and going hysterical at this, and my parents were mad at me too. Am I the idiot? Edit. Unplanned pregnancy, but now she wants to carry it to term. If she can't control her hysteria, she can at least excuse herself to the bathroom to cry. It's like she has to make every one of my celebratory moments about her. I can't even enjoy my parents being proud of me for 2 seconds before she throws a fit and whines about her poor life choices. Not the idiot. It sounds like she got a heaping spoonful of had it coming with extra salt. And what does she mean that she didn't even get accepted into any colleges? There are thousands of colleges where you don't have to get in, you simply go register for classes. In the future, though, I would recommend the high road or at least some calm sarcasm. Hey, I have some exciting news about making the dean's list. Did you want to have a temper tantrum already about morning sickness or something? I'm with you on this one. She can suck it up and be happy for your achievements. Everything isn't about her. And she's going to find that out when the baby arrives, because suddenly everyone will be focused on the baby and not her. Seems like your family is enabling her too. She's probably regretting the choices she made and jealous of everything you are accomplishing. Unfortunately, there's no rewind button in life, and if she's going to be a mother, she needs to get beyond the whole woe is me attitude, because that doesn't fly in the real world, especially with the added responsibility of having kids. Congratulations, OP. How exciting for you. I'm sorry your moment got scuppered. You deserve to be celebrated.